Hey, Nix Nova here. So today I want to share one of the most important messages, one of the most important personal epiphanies that I've ever had, that I've discovered actually relatively recently within months. And it really made an impact on me and how I see myself, how I feel about myself, how I feel about, and how I view and navigate the world. That message is there is nothing wrong with you. Nothing. You're not perfect. None of us are. We make mistakes. But there is absolutely nothing fundamentally wrong with you. Um, I don't know about you, but I've always been the type of person. It just maybe it was how it's a combination. It's my own nature. Like I'm a sensitive person. Maybe it's how I was raised. But my first go to is I used to tend to blame myself. Anything that goes wrong in my life, oh I messed up. It's me. I did something wrong. I should have done this. I should have done that. I could have done better. Why did I do this? I'm so stupid. I'm this, and that. Insert any insult, any horrible thing that you can call yourself here. And, you know, I've been in therapy for years now. And, slowly I'm discovering the source of what I feel is wrong with me. And what the different psychological issues I have, um and how to kind of like how do you navigate that. So from a psychological perspective, it helped a lot. So therapy, I highly recommend it to anyone is going through something or another at one point or another in their lives that they need some kind of guidance and help, and therapy really does work as long as you let it. So nothing against that. But in therapy I was learning, okay, well, there's I have this condition, for example, depression is one of them. I will tackle like mental issues and acceptance regarding that in other videos. Um, it should be normalized how we talk about, just as we talk about, being gay and sexuality and all these other things like that. And, we're nowadays, for the most part, people are free to discuss that and be open. But somehow, at least from my experience addressing mental issues, there's still a stigma there. And so in therapy I was okay, like I'll do one example today: depression, right? Okay, you have depression, and here's the sources, how I was raised, how I how it was taught me, from a very early age how to be and how I adapted to my, toxic environment at the time, and the consequences it had on my mental health. And, okay. So then tackling it psychologically, right? It's like my therapist taught me, here's what you can do, kind of be present, catch your thought, where, like, ask yourself, like, how do you feel right now? Where are you? What are you doing? Like, be present, become present. Is your thought having to do with the present situation? No. Is there evidence that proves or disproves your thought? Yes, no. How do you feel now? Usually it's better. Now, what are you going to do next? Like, basically, like, come back to the present moment. Your thoughts, your negative thoughts aren't real, and don't let them control your life. And it did help. But I still felt like there's still something wrong with me. I have this mental condition. I'm not normal in a bad way. Um, and like, I have to deal with it. I have to deal with it. I have to make sure I'm on top of it. I have to be careful who I talk to about my mental stuff. Because, from my experiences, not everyone is receptive to discussing that, people who I thought were safe to share this with. And then I opened up, and it turns out they got really uncomfortable and kind of pushed me away, and that worsened my mental stuff. But I've always felt this, oh yeah, like, yeah, I have this, it's just, I'm not well, like, I'm not mentally well, there's something wrong. So this is where both spirituality and therapy really kind of completed the picture. So um, I'm a tarot reader part-time, and my fellow reader at my job, at the store we read at together, he really kind of like, we connected on like, he saw me like beyond like the surface. He could really see my, like, my spiritual self, and he was really helpful to me, and I'm really grateful to him that he provided me guidance. And I used to get readings with him. We do that, we give readings to each other. And then one most important thing that will stay with me for the rest of my life, he said, there's nothing wrong with you. You're different, you're unique, you're not like everyone else. No one, people, I don't want to say no one, that's really negative, but like, most people can't understand you, they don't have the capacity to, but there's nothing wrong with you. And in my case, so call me crazy if you want, you don't have to, I accept, not everyone believes the same things, and that is okay. There's no right or wrong thing to believe in. But for me, it says basically, right, like, my soul, like, I do believe in past lives. I do believe, our souls are definitely, it's something greater. It's not just, it's obviously, yes, we have a brain, and, our mental structure, and our cells, and it, and our hormones and DNA. Yes, that definitely affects who we are in this life. However, I do believe that our souls are something greater. It is something eternal, something that's connected to something that's greater than ourselves, that is outside of ourselves. And he said, your soul, like, you weren't human in every life. I'm probably losing a lot of you right now. It's okay, bear with me. This channel is about just being open-minded and just hearing the message. If it doesn't resonate with you, you don't have to agree with it, right? You could, no worries at all. But this is just an example. Not, may or may not apply to you. This is just an example. What helped me personally is, yeah, is like, don't think of it like you're thinking of it from like this mundane kind of like everyone else's, like, this human, too human perspective. And he's like, that's just not you. That's why you feel like there's something wrong with you, because you're approaching it like too much from like a materialistic like point of view. Is like, you're, that you're connected, like, I'm a channel, like, there's things I can do and see and think and feel, and that, that is beyond the human experience. And I obviously have experience in that, but for some reason I didn't connect the two until this reading. And he told me, like, there is nothing wrong with you. You're different. And I feel like a lot of people who are dealing with things like depression or other mental issues, who maybe are in a dark place and are losing hope, and, again, empaths such as myself, blaming yourself. Maybe it's how you were raised, or just some experience, some stuff that you've been through, some trauma that's really affecting you that way. And it's leading you to believe that all these problems, these issues that you have, that means there's something wrong with you. I mean, yes, it's, not a typical, normal, whatever you want to call it. It's not like an everyday, like, majority experience. However, There's nothing wrong with you. We all have reasons for where we got to, like how we got to where we are. And my clients, like quite a few of them, they do come in and, you know, they start like crying when I tell, like, you're right where you're meant, you're not doing anything wrong, it's not your fault. And it really hits some people very deeply. I know it did me as well. And I want as many people out there that blame themselves, that think they messed up, or no matter what mistakes you made, no matter what kind of trauma you were through, no matter what kind of mental issues you may be dealing with, or any other type of issue, there's nothing wrong with you. You're meant to be you. You are the way you are for a reason. Now, you know, this isn't to inflate anybody's ego. We got to remember, you know, don't just like, oh, I'm perfect, there's nothing wrong with me, I can do what I want. Like no, no one's perfect. People do make mistakes. There is trauma, there is wounds, healing needs to be done. You know, there's misalignment, there's, you know, being lost. You know, there is always, you know, ways that we can all be a better person, and work on ourselves. But just because we're not perfect and we're trying to do better, that doesn't mean the current version of you is like fundamentally messed up forever. There's nothing wrong with you. And that really opened my eyes and gave me like this, I felt like this light. And all of a sudden I started looking at things from a much more positive perspective. That therapy alone, like, it helped me like to a certain point, but then I there was still something, like, I was this helped me, like, pushed me to this final level, to this next level. I started focusing on the positives and my strengths. You know, it's so important. Like, even therapists, everybody from, you know, spiritual guides or therapists, they do tell you, you know, like, what are your strengths? Celebrate your strengths, right? But when you feel really deep down, you feel like no matter what strengths you have, that there's still something wrong with you. It's difficult to kind of balance that out. At least for me it was. This way that there's something wrong with me. Like, I might, you know, it's like it was this way. I was trying to swim up to the light, swim up to the surface. It's like, you know, I'm smart, I'm strong, I'm good at my job. Like, this all these good things about me. Yes, yes, yes. And then, like, eventually this weight in the back of my head is just something wrong with me. I'm not normal. There's nothing. I'm messed up. It just kept slowly pulling me down, and I have to like swim again. And it was exhausting. It was an uphill battle, and it wasn't fully sustainable for me. Then when I like realized there's nothing wrong with me. I'm different. I always knew that. I always knew that. I am a very proud, self-proclaimed weirdo. And I knew that, but like the fact that no matter what mental issues I may be dealing with, like, and again, this just a real, there's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't make them just automatically go away, but it does encourage me and help me deal with them so much easier. It gives me that hope to fully embrace who I am, imperfections and mistakes and all of that. Just knowing that there's nothing wrong with me. I really hope whoever is out there that's blaming themselves, that's dealing with this dread, this rock that keeps pulling you under, I really hope that you realize, you know, there's nothing wrong with you. You're right where you're meant to be. There's reasons why you got here, and it's going to be okay. It's temporary. Whatever this negative that you're going through, we all go through ups and downs. There's nothing wrong with you. So the tarot card of today's video is, so these are a little bit different. These come from the Dreams of Gaia Tarot. And so usually, like, the tarot cards, they have a very specific set. The pictures or interpretations might be a little bit different, but the set of the major arcana and then each of the minor arcanas is more or less the same. This one, the Dreams of Gaia one, does it a little bit differently. It has a different set of major arcana, and the way it does the minor arcanas is also like quite different. So the theme is, this is the back of it, and then it has this card that the other tarot cards don't have, and it is the Self. Number 14, the Self. Sorry, trying to get it to where there's no glare. But anyway, this is a very powerful card. It encourages to really embrace and connect with your true self and fully holistically love yourself, body, mind, soul, everything. It's reminding you to stop and smell the roses and notice the subtle, beautiful things about yourself. It's also about protecting yourself. There are guides there. You are never alone. You are protected and loved and guided. Whether it's, you know, if it's an actual person, or if it's the universe or your guides, whatever you believe in, it's there. It's about releasing what no longer serves you and transforming it into the light, into something beautiful. So yeah, so when this shows up in a reading, it's a reminder to, again, fully embrace yourself and love yourself. And yeah, remember, there's nothing wrong with you. You're exactly the way you're meant to be.